A wildfire is burning just north of Las Vegas off US 93. We'll update you on how many acres have burned so far.
Good news for drivers. Gas prices are going down, but for how long? We'll take a look in a live report.
Plus, the Community College of Southern Nevada has been the center of controversy for months. Tonight, how that could hurt the school's reputation.
You're watching Channel 8 Eyewitness News at 6. It's not just news, it's Eyewitness News.
There is some good news for travelers this holiday weekend. The average price of a gallon of regular gas in Las Vegas is down $2.13. That's down nearly 15 cents from the record high just last month. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We'll have more on dropping gas prices in a moment.
First, we want to tell you, though, about a wildfire that is burning in the Sheep Mountain Range north of Las Vegas. Former Channel 8 Eyewitness News reporter Tom Warden came past there today. He joins us on the telephone right now to talk about that fire. Tom, you saw it when it was first just a wisp of smoke up into the air as you drove back from up around Ely today, right?
That's right, Gary. We were coming back from a camping trip up in the Great Basin National Park area. And way up ahead, we saw a small puff of white smoke on the side of the Sheep Mountains. That was about 2:30. The wind was really picking up about then. And by the time we got to the area, this thing had fairly exploded into a big wildfire.
Tom, can you tell us what the weather was like or what it might be like right now?
Well, it seemed pretty breezy out there. You could see the stuff just blowing right up the side of the mountain. And like I say, the puff of smoke when you first saw it was hardly there. It didn't seem like anything. And I was just amazed that it was a matter of minutes, and the thing just seemed to explode into the whole side of the Sheep Mountain Range along 93 where it is.
We had some storms move through here. We had rain at Lake Mead. We had some rain and some lightning around the valley today. You were up in Ely way. This storm kind of went your way. Did you have rain and lightning up there?
Yeah, there were quite a few little lightning hits up there, and it could easily, I would think, have been maybe a lightning hit that sat there and smoldered, and then when these winds kicked up, maybe that's what did it.
You know, Tom, you have some experience being a former reporter and anchor here on Channel 8. You know, this is the time of the year that we see weather like this. Did you kind of feel something like this might be happening and brewing out there?
It sure seems like it had all the ingredients for that, and as soon as we saw the little bit of smoke, we thought, geez, well, that could probably blow into something, but I don't think anybody thought it could happen as quickly as it did. That's what was shocking.
All right. We appreciate your first phone call being to us, you know, being a reporter and helping us out. We appreciate all that. Did you want to get back to work?
Sure. Give me a little Nomex suit, and I'll go out there and fight the fire for you.
We got it. We got a handy cam for you, Tom. Thank you very much. Tom Warden on the phone with us. Other news this afternoon, we'll have more on that fire in a minute, but first, gas prices have dropped across the country. They're still not as low as they were a year ago, and experts say this may not be the last of the higher prices, so watch out. Channel 8 Eyewitness News is live. Luann Sorrell is at Maryland Parkway in Tropicana with a look at the prices. Luann.
Well, Gary, it's true that gas prices have only dropped slightly over the past 3 weeks, but many people are taking advantage of the cheaper gas prices and hitting the roads this 4th of July weekend.
We're headed up to northern Utah. Some family reunions and just basically have a good time.
Ben Glick and his family are among the 34 million people across the country taking a road trip this 4th of July weekend. Paying $2.11 for a gallon of gas is a good deal to Glick, who only a month ago was in Germany, where he says gas was twice as much.
Army reservist, I'm a dentist, and I just was over there for 2 weeks doing my annual training and just working on soldiers going to and from Iraq.
Well, I'm only going to put 10 in because I kind of went over my budget already.
For others like Dolores Babbs, prices at the pump are still too high. That's why she's canceled her plans for the holiday to visit her brother in California.
My brother has a motel in California, but the prices are just too high.
Well, I still think it's high. I mean, for the average person.
According to AAA Nevada, gas prices here could soon go up, making today's prices look like a bargain in comparison.
Those prices, however, may be short-lived due to a couple of glitches with refineries in California, which is where we get our gas from. But we're hoping once production continues that those prices will remain where they are now.
So for now, those like Ben Glick plan to go ahead with their holiday plans and take advantage of the cheapest gas prices we've seen in a month. Now, AAA expects some 300,000 people right here in Nevada to take a trip this holiday weekend. That's up 2.6% over last year. Reporting live near Maryland Parkway in Tropicana, I'm Luann Sorrell, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
All right, Luann, thank you. While gas prices have been going down over the past 3 weeks, we are still paying 40 cents more a gallon than we were last year at this time. AAA says some 300,000 people will travel this 4th of July weekend, even with the high prices, and most of them will travel by car. Around the country, 39.4 million Americans will travel 50 miles or more from home. That's up from last year, and again, most of those people will be traveling by car.
The University Board of Regents has voted unanimously to turn over an internal investigation of the community college system to state and federal authorities. The investigation was prompted by the actions of State Assemblyman Wendell Williams. Channel 8 Eyewitness News is live. Cindy Caesar joins us from that Board of Regents meeting. Cindy.
Well, that's right. You know, the FBI investigation was actually not on the agenda here at the meeting, which wrapped up about an hour ago. But the FBI investigation was on the minds of the regents last fall when they voted to open up their dirty laundry to the federal government. It was at a regents meeting where Community College of Southern Nevada President Ron Remington and a college lobbyist, John Cummings, were demoted. That's because a majority of the regents felt that there was too much evidence that the two men were influenced by State Assemblyman Wendell Williams. That's after Williams' friend, Topazia Bridget Jones, was hired by the college. And at the same time, Williams' wife, Zelda, accepted a settlement from the college in a harassment case. The university regents wanted the state and federal government to investigate whether Williams used his power as a legislator to influence votes in exchange for the favorable decisions for his wife and Jones.
Well, if there were wrongdoing, we need to discover that and we need to correct it. And there's no hesitance on our part to basically show our hand and show the FBI and the Attorney General what we felt was improper, and where it goes from there remains to be seen.
The university regents are also dealing with a legal battle with Remington after a judge ruled that a vote in November to demote him was in violation of the Open Meetings Act. But interim Chancellor Jim Rogers says there has been no court order to reinstate Remington. And with a new president, Richard Carpenter, on his way to take the position in August, Roger believes the university system is regaining its reputation in academia.
The fact is that no matter what happens, it's not going to adversely affect this university. It's simply not.
The interim chancellor, Jim Rogers, also said that he did not believe that Ron Remington would continue to try to get his job back at the university system. However, I was not able to get in touch with Ron Remington's attorney to confirm that by the time this broadcast. Reporting live from the Board of Regents, Cindy Caesar, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
Even though a district court judge ruled that there was a violation of the open meetings law, that ruling only dealt with the university regent meeting in November. The regents re-voted in December to demote Ron Remington in a December meeting, which has not been challenged in court.
Well, the monorail should have been open for business for months. Coming up, the latest word on when it might start carrying passengers.
Plus, our nation's stockpile of nuclear weapons is aging. Tonight, an exclusive look at how the government is making sure they still work.
You're watching Channel 8 Eyewitness News at 6 with Gary Waddell, Paula Francis, Neighborhood Weather with Kevin Janison, and Sports with Dave McCann. It's not just news, it's Eyewitness News.
A quick turn of events is turning the Valley's housing market on its ear tonight. Within the last 3 weeks, new developments have changed the way homes are bought and sold in the Las Vegas Valley. Channel 8 Eyewitness News is live. Brian Allen has more. Brian.
Well, Paula, good evening. That's right. It's no secret that buying a house here in the Las Vegas Valley can be a genuine pain in the neck. You have to submit bid after bid and come up with a lot of money, whereas if you're trying to sell a house here, you can seemingly ask for however much money you want. Indeed, it is kind of a crazy process, one which may be about to come to an end. The housing problem in Las Vegas is supply and demand. A lot of people want houses, but there aren't a lot of houses. Well, now there may be.
Homes are not sold overnight now. They're actually on the market for a couple of weeks. You're seeing fewer multiple offers.
Real estate analyst Larry Murphy says Las Vegas is catching up with its growth.
In a perfect world, we'd always be in balance with the supply and demand, and prices would be stable.
While not perfect, the situation is improving if you're looking to buy. From January through May last year, Clark County issued more than 10,000 new housing permits. For the same period this year, more than 17,000, an increase of 68%.
The market is making a correction right now, and we're getting back to normal, I think.
Included in that, normal prices, meaning sellers will no longer be able to demand top dollar and then some for their homes.
What we're doing is trying to re-educate the sellers that they're not going to have 14 offers the first day and get into a bidding war on who wants to pay the most for their house.
4 months ago, Bob Martin was in a bidding war to buy his house. Now he wonders if he should have waited or if he did the right thing.
I've already made quite a bit of money in equity on my place just in the 4 months that I've been here, and I've like everybody, I've thought about just, you know, rolling it over real quick and moving on, but once again, you can't get into something that is you know, as nice for the amount of money that you're spending. So.
And to show how much of a dramatic change is currently underway, right now there are over 7,600 homes and condos available and for sale here in southern Clark County. Last year at this time, there were only 3,900 homes, an almost 100% increase in just 1 year's time. Reporting live tonight from Sahara and Nellis, Brian Allen, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
Now, this market correction is expected to last until after the first of the year. After that, the problem may or may not crop up again, depending on how many new home permits the county issues.
The nation's nuclear weapons stockpile is getting older. The weapons need to be tested, but we can't break the weapons ban. Tonight, what scientists here in southern Nevada are doing to make sure those weapons are ready if they're ever needed.
For many, shopping is a lot of fun, but for some people it can be a destructive compulsion. Tonight, the new treatment to stop that addiction.
And later in this hour, the power in Iraq is now in the hands of Iraqis. We'll tell you what that means for the future of the country and for American troops.
Neighborhood weather on Eyewitness News is brought to you by Sunburst Shutters. First, because they last. You're watching Channel 8 Eyewitness News at 6. It's not just news, it's Eyewitness News.
Eyewitness News has learned the new Las Vegas Monorail will begin operation sometime in July. That's good news for Monorail officials and tourists alike. Channel 8 Eyewitness News' Dana Roselli has a look inside a monorail train.
It will be a new way to get from point A to point B without waiting in traffic. In less than 14 minutes, you can travel from the Sahara Hotel to the MGM. In between there's 8 stops: the Las Vegas Hilton, Convention Center, Harrah's Imperial Palace, the Flamingo, and Bally's in Paris Hotel.
When the system opens, it'll open from 8 a.m. to midnight and about anywhere from 4 minutes to about 12 minutes between trains, just depending on the time of day.
Each car has seating for 18 people and standing room for twice that number. 7 trains will operate at once. On your trip, you'll see a little different view of the resorts too, like hotel pools. And eventually, the monorail system will expand further to downtown.
And just the ability to, once people come to Las Vegas, for them to get around once they are here, to improve that visitor experience. And there's, you know, those 36 million people are interested in how they move around Las Vegas when they come here.
And it will happen sooner rather than later. The monorail will open sometime next month.
And we are in the process of selecting a couple of different days that the system can open in, and making sure that we're coordinating that with all of our hotel partners as well as our contractors who we work hand in hand with.
That was Dana Roselli reporting. Plans for the expansion to downtown are already underway, if you can believe that. That will add 4 more stations and end at Fremont Street. Well, we have some road closures that we want to warn you about. Tuesday night and Thursday night, southbound US 95 at Lake Mead Parkway in Henderson will be closed. The northbound traffic will be reduced to 1 lane. Also, Lake Mead Parkway will be closed while the work is being done. The closures start at 9 in the evening and won't reopen until 5 in the morning. This is all part of the construction of the interchange between the 215 and US 95 in Henderson.
The National Nuclear Security Administration unveiled its latest way to test our nuclear weapons stockpile without using any radioactive material. The tests are designed to show whether those weapons are safe and can be used if needed. Channel 8 Eyewitness News reporter Edward Lawrence has our exclusive look at the Atlas machine.
With that, Atlas went online. The machine will verify that our nuclear weapons stockpiles remain safe and can be used if needed. Atlas is a huge superconductor which creates an electromagnetic field that crushes metal put in the middle of the machine.
Right now, we have no plans to use anything radioactive or nuclear materials in this facility.
Test results from the benign target will show how the metal at various ages implodes. Since a nuclear detonation is actually massive implosions creating energy, scientists can guesstimate if a nuclear warhead will still work after many years.
Only machine of its type, highest power, most precise implosion machine anywhere in the country.
Atlas cost $20.7 million and took almost 2 full years to put together on the Nevada test site.
This is actually 24 individual machines tied together in the middle.
It's also very large. This machine sits in a building that's 4 stories tall and more than half the size of a football field, all to crush a target that could fit in the palm of your hand.
It's a part of the future. We have to continue to be able to certify the weapons for use if need be.
By using Atlas, individual weapons from our aging nuclear stockpile do not have to be detonated to see if they work. The first official test from the machine will be in about 4 weeks. Edward Lawrence, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
The last full-blown nuclear detonation at the Nevada test site was in 1992, just before the tests were banned by an international treaty. To date, there have been 928 nuclear tests on the site. 100 of those tests were atmospheric tests or above-ground tests. Talking about things that explode, you can now buy fireworks here in southern Nevada. Fireworks stands around the valley opened this morning. You can only buy legal, safe, and sane fireworks. Any fireworks that go up in the air, explode, or spin are not legal in Clark County. Fireworks are not allowed on federal land, and that includes recreation areas like Lake Mead and Mount Charleston. So watch out. Valley fireworks stands can stay open until midnight Sunday night, and then they have to all go away.
Things are also exploding weather-wise when it comes to those big billowing clouds that are out there, right, Kevin?
Yesterday, they were all over the valley, Polly. Today, they've kind of moved either east, north, or south, but not here in southern Nevada. Want to show you where they have moved, though, from our camera out at Zion National Park. What a gorgeous place to hang out during a summer weekend, or a week for that matter. They had a few spotty showers and waves of clouds go through, but here at home in the valley, the air mass is parched but cool, at least by Las Vegas standards for late June. We'll start near College at 95 degrees right now. The breeze is blowing, though, not unusual for this time of day. They're blowing at 15. They've gusted to 34 down there. Up complete opposite end of town near Camino El Dorado and Ann Road. North part of the valley, 94 degrees, 8 now 7 miles per hour, but they've had a gust of wind to 38. Yesterday, with some of those thunderstorms nearby, we gusted to 50 in many valley neighborhoods. Valley View in Charleston, 95 degrees, 5 miles per hour, and we'll head over to Windmill in Paradise, where it's 97 degrees and only 5% relative humidity. Can you believe how dry it is? Now, this is where things are normally for the beginning of June. Latter part of June, we start to see the numbers increase, similar to what we had yesterday when the clouds were building, but it is one dry air mass out there. You don't run into double-digit humidity until you go really north of the Las Vegas Valley and then head where the thunderstorms have been today, and of course you find the numbers a lot higher, at least by our standards. Meanwhile, speaking of highs, look at how many neighborhoods, especially over the southern and eastern edges of town, did not make it to 100 degrees today. 99 near Charleston and Torrey Pines, then 100 all over the west side. Outside the valley, 76 on the mountain. Pahrump up to 95. Of course, Death Valley was cooking. Laughlin hit 105. But at McCarran, only 99 degrees, 3 below normal, 78 for the morning low. Air quality was good. Sun's going down at 8:02. Around the country, some potent storms for the 3rd day in a row in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They are getting drenched. Check out some of the pictures of some of the flooding that is occurring down there, not only under the bridge, but they had to close the Fort Worth Zoo early today because of floodwaters down there, and it's a mess with more rain falling down there tonight. We'll come back home. We'll show you the lightning map here, and the big fire is right about here in this general area, but no lightning strikes today. However, those of you that have lived here a long period of time know that you can get a lightning strike and things can smolder for a couple of days before the fire actually begins, and we believe that's what's happened with that Coyote fire. Meanwhile, showers and thunderstorms north, east, and south of us, just not in the valley. We don't think that's going to change change, but we say that with one eyebrow raised because we have an area of low pressure off the California coast that's responsible for guiding this moisture. It's going to slide southward. As it does, it might bring some of this moisture a little farther to the south, so maybe a thunderstorm just north of the valley tomorrow. But if this thing just hiccups a little farther to the south tomorrow, then so will the chance for thunderstorms, and that's what we'll be watching. Mostly clear, 77 tonight, still a stray cloud possible. Tomorrow we'll get a few clouds, mainly over the mountains, looking for a high right around 100, very similar to what we had today. A lot of neighborhoods again tomorrow will stop in the upper 90s. Are you kidding me? Gotta love the end of June and the beginning of July. That'll start with high temperatures in the mid to upper 90s. By the 4th of July, only 100 degrees. Only 100 degrees in Las Vegas. Yep,
Oh,
we've lost our weather somewhere, but nobody's complaining.
Thanks, Kevin.
Okay. Iraqis are now in control of their own country. Coming up, what the handoff in power means and doesn't mean to Iraq.
Plus, in tonight's Eye on Entertainment, the Bard is back in southern Utah. Kate Bennett has a look at the Utah Shakespearean Festival.
I'm Dave McCann. Coming up in sports, the big fella is in Las Vegas and adding more fuel to the fire that he wants out of L.A. Shaq has his home up for sale to make his point. Also ahead, Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins are ready to kick off a promotion that figures to make boxing history here in Las Vegas. Sports is next here on Channel 8. He is the biggest and most powerful name in the NBA. He also has a huge contract, and he says he wants out of L.A. Is Shaquille O'Neal serious, or is he just blowing off steam after a disastrous ending to the Lakers season? If you ask Shaq, he's not messing around. O'Neal's in Las Vegas attending some players' union meetings. He said again over the weekend that he wants to be traded. The Lakers hope he'll change his mind. They have Shaq on contract for a couple more years. The Mavericks are said to be the front runners if a trade ever happens. O'Neal is expected to make almost $60 million over the next 24 months with L.A. If he sells his house, he'll make an additional $7.6 million. Shaq put his Beverly Hills home on the market as a message to the Lakers that his trade demand is no joke. Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins will use a Beverly Hills backdrop Tuesday to kick off the promotion for their mega fight in September at the MGM. The two will meet to unify the 4 middleweight championship belts in the richest non-heavyweight fight in history. Hopkins has the 3 titles that matter the most. De La Hoya picked up the WBO title with his close decision over Felix Sturm last month. It was his first fight at 160 pounds. He looked heavy and soft. Hopkins has made 18 successful title defenses at or around 160. To make this fight happen, though, the two agreed that neither fighter could weigh more than 158. A slimmer De La Hoya could make for a very unpredictable night. WBO heavyweight champion Lamont Brewster will defend his title September 4th against Kali Meehan at Mandalay Bay. This is a Don King fight that could eventually help serve up Brewster to meet Mike Tyson down the road. Brewster won the title in April after scoring a TKO over Vladimir Klitschko. Also on the card, welterweight champ Corey Spinks will meet WBC contender Miguel Angel Gonzalez. Tickets start at $50 and are on sale at Mandalay Bay. Coming up later in the hour, UNLV's Lon Kruger restores a summertime program that is bringing local and regional ball players right into his gym. I'll be back with that story in 20 minutes. Gary and Polly.
All right.
There is more news straight ahead on Channel 8 Eyewitness News live at 6:30. New power in Iraq tonight that could mean our troops might come home soon. We'll take a look.
Plus, detainees being held in Cuba could soon be under the power of American courts. See what a new Supreme Court ruling means to the war on terror.
And the stage is set. The actors are ready. The play begins tonight at the Utah Shakespearean Festival. Kate Bennett has the story in tonight's Eye on Entertainment.
You're watching Channel 8 Eyewitness News at 6:30 with Gary Waddell, Paula Francis, neighborhood weather with Kevin Janison, and sports with Dave McCann. It's not just news, it's Eyewitness News.
Thanks for staying with us.
A fire is burning in the Sheep Mountain Range just north of Las Vegas.
Channel 8 Eyewitness News reporter Janine Gill joins us from the main office of the Fish and Wildlife Service with an update. Janine.
Yeah, well, we just drove back from as far up as we could go. We made it up to 95 North near Corn Creek. That's pretty close to where the exit to the Lee Canyon Ski Resort is. What we know right now is that 1,500 acres has been burning up there in the Sheep Mountain Range. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, along with the BLM, has closed all the roads within the wildlife refuge. That's just for the public safety. So 95 northbound near Corn Creek, you can only go that far, and then as far as 93 and State Route 168, that area into the wildlife refuge is also closed. No firefighters are actually fighting this blaze. Right now they're hoping that this will just burn out. They're monitoring the fire. They sent a helicopter up earlier today to look at it, and without any precipitation, they believe that it unfortunately probably won't burn out, and they'll probably have to go and do a flyover tomorrow morning. They believe what started this all was possibly a lightning strike, and with all that dry vegetation there in the Sheep Mountain Range, that's probably what fueled this fire. That's all we have for now. Reporting live from the headquarters of U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Janine Gill, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
This is a day of great hope for Iraqis, and a day that terrorist enemies hoped never to see.
The power in Iraq is now in the hands of the Iraqis. 2 days ahead of schedule, the U.S. transferred power to the interim government this morning. Civilian Administrator Paul Bremer left the country, and within hours, the new U.S. ambassador arrived in Baghdad. President Bush says today's handover means Iraqis finally have their country back. It was a day many Iraqis thought would never come, and it arrived sooner than expected. After 14 months of occupation, the U.S.-led coalition handed power over to the interim Iraqi government 2 days ahead of schedule.
We have done this today, and we feel that we are capable and in control of the situation and of the security situation.
Security, or the lack thereof, is the key issue that will determine the future of this nation. Some 160,000 coalition troops and a growing army of Iraqi security forces have been unable to stop insurgents from choosing targets almost at will. With that in mind, officials moved up the transfer of power to throw off potential saboteurs. Traveling in Turkey, President Bush acknowledged the security problems, but said the insurgents have not prevented democracy in Iraq.
The terrorists know they face defeat unless they break the spirit and commitment of the civilized world. The civilized world will not be frightened or intimidated.
On the streets of Iraq, reaction was mixed. Some openly rejoiced. Others said true sovereignty will not be achieved until all U.S. troops withdraw. And exactly when that will happen is anybody's guess. President Bush says U.S. troops will stay as long as stability of Iraq requires it, or when the Iraqi government asks them to leave. The Bush-Cheney campaign declined all television interview requests today to talk about the transfer. Democratic presidential candidate John Kerry says despite today's change, the transition of power is nowhere near complete.
90% of the coalition on the ground is American, 90%. And 90% of the cost is being borne by the American people.
In a CNN USA Today Gallup poll today, 3/4 of Americans approve of the handover, and most say it will improve the situation. But 60% said the transfer of power is a sign U.S. policy is failing.
Nevada's congressional delegation says today's events mark a new day in Iraq. Senator Harry Reid praised the early transfer of power in Iraq, and Senator John Ensign said it will only serve to empower the Iraqi people.
I'm glad to see that NATO's agreed to work on training some of the Iraqi soldiers and police. That's important, because ultimately that's what it's going to take for that country to become a country. That is, it'll have to be controlled by the Iraqis, not 140,000 American soldiers.
We'll help get more and more Iraqis to volunteer to help turning in information on the people who are trying to destroy freedom and democracy in their countries.
Senator Ensign also said the power transfer would go a long way in helping Iraq's security.
The Arab television network Al Jazeera is reporting that Iraqi militants killed an American soldier today. The militants have held Private First Class Keith Maupin since April. Maupin is from Batavia, Ohio. He was captured during an ambush on a convoy west of Baghdad.
Meanwhile, a Utah family is praying for the safe return of a U.S. Marine who may be the latest hostage in Iraq. Al Jazeera broadcast the videotape from a militant group threatening to behead Wasef Ali Hassoun if the U.S. military did not release all prisoners in Iraq.
that's a hell of a way for a Marine to die, you know. But if we know where he is, we're going to get him out, and they better hurry up if they're going to do it, because the more time they wait, the closer we're going to get to him.
Hassoun is based out of Camp Pendleton in California. His family lives in West Jordan, Utah, a Salt Lake City suburb. The U.S. Supreme Court today reaffirmed a president's power to hold certain detainees without filing charges against them. It's an issue that surfaced when the U.S. brought hundreds of prisoners from Afghanistan to Guantanamo Bay. But as Drew Levinson reports, detainees may still get their day in court.
It's a ruling that essentially gives the Bush administration half a loaf. The Supreme Court said the government can hold the 600 suspected foreign terrorists at Guantanamo Bay without filing charges, but they can now have their day in court. In two separate rulings, the Supreme Court said enemy combatants can challenge their detention. That's a blow to the White House. It had claimed broad authority to seize and hold potential terrorists and their protectors for as long as the president saw fit, without interference from judges or lawyers. Among prisoners who will benefit from the ruling is American-born detainee Yasser Assam Hamdi. He's a 21-year-old detainee captured in Afghanistan and is now being held in a Navy brig in South Carolina. After the September 11th terrorist attacks, Congress gave the president significant authority to pursue terrorists. But Hamdi's lawyers said it didn't mean an American citizen could be held indefinitely without charges or trial. In a similar case involving U.S.-born terror suspect Jose Padilla, the court avoided a ruling for legal reasons, sending it back to a lower court for refiling. Padilla, a former Chicago gang member, was arrested on U.S. soil, and like Hamdi, is also a prisoner in that South Carolina brig. Drew Levinson, CBS News.
About 600 foreigners from 42 countries are being held at the Navy base in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. At times, as many as 800 men have been held there. Many are suspected Taliban or al-Qaeda foot soldiers. More than 100 prisoners have been released or turned over to the custody of their home country.
Here in Las Vegas, a local woman charged in her daughter's death pleaded not guilty today. The judge set an October 11th trial date for Cheryl Botzett. She's charged with murder in the death of her 11-year-old daughter, Ariel. The district attorney says Botzett neglected her daughter's diabetes, and that led to the girl's death. Botzett's attorney tells Eyewitness News his client is not guilty of murder. A coroner's report shows Ariel Botzett was insulin deficient when she died. A 13-year-old boy was remembered today as an amazing person, wise beyond his tender years. Maddie Stepanek was laid to rest in Wheaton, Maryland this morning. Maddie died last week of complications from muscular dystrophy. Talk show host Oprah Winfrey remembered Maddie today for his indomitable spirit and his inspirational award-winning poetry. Former President Jimmy Carter called Maddie the most extraordinary person he ever met.
Frequently used cell phones could be at greater risk for infertility, according to one European study. But a local expert is not convinced of the findings. Carrying a mobile phone near the waist could cut your sperm count by nearly 30%, according to Hungarian scientists. They say that prolonged use of cell phones is damaging to sperm production. Las Vegas infertility specialist Rachel McConnell says the report is interesting, but not conclusive.
I think they have to do some more research to analyze the other issues that can also be related to low sperm counts before we can conclude that cell phones are playing a major role.
While the jury is still out on cell phones, it's believed that higher stress levels and smoking can reduce the quality and quantity of sperm. We have more about the study at KLASTV.com. Well, most of us go shopping when we need or want something. Some people shop because they just can't help themselves. It can become a compulsion, just like alcoholism or gambling. In tonight's Medical Breakthroughs report, Paula Francis shows us how a new drug could help end the addiction.
Even when the brain was telling me, you don't need this, you don't need to go to a store, the rest of the body was not cooperating.
Ada Spade suffered from compulsive shopping, a clinically diagnosed impulse control disorder.
We have over 5,000 books in my house. We haven't even counted, those are only 3 categories.
She shopped every day, sometimes for 8 hours straight, and spent up to $500 every week.
We tried therapy, we tried budgeting, we tried doing strictly cash. We tried, everything we tried. It didn't last.
People's lives have been ruined. Their marriages have ended. They've had to declare bankruptcy.
Now, Stanford doctor Elias Abujadeh has something to help Ada and others like her. He tested the antidepressant Celexa on 24 patients.
We saw a response of 71% in terms of patients being able to function and not be so preoccupied with this drive to shop.
Celexa increases serotonin levels in the brain. That simple boost may be all it takes.
I've seen it work miracles. I've seen it change people's lives.
Ada says it's changed hers.
It's enjoyable now, but it's not a need now.
And now she can walk out of a store empty-handed. Paula Francis, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
The side effects of Celexa include nausea, headache, and a decreased sex drive. For more information about this treatment, send us a self-addressed stamped envelope. Write Compulsive Shopping on the front, and you can find more information, of course, on our website.
Shakespeare is taking over Cedar City, Utah. Kate Bennett will show us what you can expect from the festival this year coming up.
Plus, this may be a cooler than normal week as we head toward the 4th of July weekend. Kevin Jannison will have the forecast when we come back.
Did you know the 4th of July holiday is the #1 holiday for total traffic fatality in the state of Nevada? And nearly 50% of those are alcohol related.
That's right, Chris. Sadly, 41% of total highway deaths involve alcohol. That means someone dies in an alcohol-related accident every 30 minutes.
The effects of drunk driving are far-reaching, and we are all equally at risk. This 4th of July, if you drink, please don't drive.
Together we can make Nevada's roads safe and arrive alive.
Neighborhood weather on Eyewitness News is brought to you by Sunburst Shutters. First, because they last.
Well, the Bard is on stage starting tonight in southern Utah.
Kate Bennett is here with a preview of the Shakespearean Festival happening in Cedar City.
It's a great festival. Of course, it goes on every year. With Jubilee, Wayne Newton, and Blue Man Group in our backyard, it's sometimes a treat to get away for a few hours and see Shakespeare. But first, it's Celine Dion who's going to make someone else feel like a star.
In the next few weeks, one lucky fan will get to meet Celine Dion and live like the super diva. The Las Vegas performer is going to give the person who purchases the 1 millionth ticket a 2-night stay in a VIP suite at Caesars, a limo at their service, complimentary meals, a $1,000 shopping spree, and of course, 2 front-row seats to see Celine at the Coliseum. And if the winner doesn't think they're lucky after all of that, Celine's also throwing in $2,500 in Caesars gaming chips. Tickets are available now for performances through September. If you want to forego the glitz of the Strip, why not head to Cedar City, Utah for the 43rd season of the Utah Shakespearean Festival. Today marks the beginning of the 17-week season.
It's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be a season with something for absolutely everyone. Comedies, a wonderful, slightly tragic romance, a beautiful history, a spectacular review, and a glorious, glorious musical.
That musical, My Fair Lady, may not be Shakespeare, but it is along the lines of one of the comedies playing this year, The Taming of the Shrew. Kurt Ziske is one of the highly trained actors at the festival, starring in both My Fair Lady and Henry IV.
I think it'll be a good season to come in and sort of have your expectations adjusted a bit in terms of what you think you might see. You know, I think that's what theater should be.
The Utah Shakespearean Festival has won a Tony Award for Outstanding Regional Theater, as well as many esteemed recognitions. This season, which runs through September 4th, there are 6 productions, some of the best live theater this area has to offer.
And the Utah Shakespearean Festival is just getting underway today in Cedar City, which is about a 2.5-hour drive from Las Vegas. In addition to the live theater, there are also plenty of activities. For more information, tickets, and schedules, just log on to our website, KLASTV.com.
And as you were saying, there's lots more than just Shakespeare up there, so it's really cool.
Exactly. Sounds like a lot of fun this year.
The theaters are as much fun as the plays sometimes, too.
Great.
It's really cool, but is their weather just as cool? What are they experiencing out there, Kevin?
Yeah, they're usually about 15 degrees cooler than us, and that's a great great time. Plus, there's a lot of good hiking around Cedar City as well that you could be up to in 10 or 15 minutes. Highly recommended from the weather department. That matters. We'll start up near Elkhorn and Buffalo. 94 degrees. They're blowing at 11 miles per hour. Jay in Washington checks in at 98. Gotta love these numbers being below 100 degrees. Downtown Henderson, 94, 7 miles per hour on the wind. And up in Pioche in Lincoln County, 78 degrees right now, 12 miles per hour on the wind. Gotta love. Look at the whole valley is below 100 degrees. It's late June. This is unheard of. It is 99 up in North Las Vegas. Outside of town, the mountains already below 70. Red Rock comes in at 93. While Mesquite has 99 degrees. Some of the high temperatures from around the west equally as impressive. Salt Lake at only 89. Cedar City, as we mentioned, usually about 15 or so degrees cooler than us. Right now they are about 19 cooler than McCarran. 77 in downtown LA. Reno hit 87 degrees. Around the country, showers and thunderstorms. We showed them to you in Texas and through the southeast. Just west of Denver, they're getting clobbered for the second day in a row. Check out some of these pictures from the flooding. This was 3 inches, the result of 3 inches of rain. Again, just a little bit west of Denver yesterday, and it's raining in that region again. Of course, the flooding, the heavy rains, the lightning, the thunder, and everything that comes with it, the hail with these storms too, causing problems. We'll come back home. We've got showers and thunderstorms to our east, to our north, and a few to our south. They're going to have trouble making it into southern Nevada. Here's your forecast for tonight. 77 degrees under a clear sky, just a light southerly breeze. Tomorrow we'll bounce back up to an even 100, very similar to what we had today. Some neighborhoods may eke out a 103 or a 104 and a light southerly breeze. The lake should make it up to 103, mostly sunny out there. There will be a few clouds. It looks right now like most of the clouds will stay north of the valley tomorrow. 73 on the mountain after a morning low of 48. And a look ahead at your 7-day forecast. This wraps up June and brings in July. And look at this, brings in July with highs in the mid to upper 90s. And even on the 4th of July, only 100 degrees. Dave, if you could find better weather than that, buy it.
Well, as impressive as that is, it's still the time of year to be indoors, and that's where we find UNLV basketball coach Lon Kruger this afternoon. The coach is restoring a summertime program that brings local talent right into his gym. Also ahead, he's bringing down the house at Wimbledon, and his countrymen wonder aloud, is this the year for a British champion? Sports is next here on Channel 8. The dog days of summer can also be productive ones for college basketball coaches. This is the time where they can open their gyms to high school players and get to know the local talent. Lon Kruger's team camp began today at UNLV. It's something the Rebels did not do last year.
Well, in the past, it's been very good for us. You know, at Illinois, for instance, we had camp in Champaign and also one in Chicago where we go up there and see a lot of prospects. And hopefully that's something that will develop here. I think, you know, we're starting with, you know, a fewer number of teams, and that will grow every year. And but it's exciting to watch young people have fun playing basketball. And again, the opportunity to meet the coaches, develop relationships, all part of it.
With the big high school tournaments coming to town in July and the others around the country, are we embarking on the most important recruiting month of the year?
Well, probably. You know, although anymore, you know, they're all important. But I think in July you get the chance to see a greater number of prospects in a smaller, fewer number of days over a smaller period of time. So that probably makes July as important as anything.
There are 9 high school teams at this camp, which wraps up on Wednesday. As for Kruger's Rebel players, they start practice in about 7 weeks to get ready for their trip to Canada. Andy Roddick has yet to lose a single set in his march toward glory at Wimbledon. Roddick rolled over Alexander Pop 7-5, 6-4, and 6-4 today. This is for the match as Roddick moves into the quarterfinals. Also today, defending champion Roger Federer and 2002 champ Leighton Hewitt advance. And the great hope of all of England is still out there as well. Tim Henman outlasts Mark Philippoussis in a 4-set, 3-hour marathon. Henman is trying to become the first British player to win the men's title since 1936. The NHRA is looking for clues as to what caused this disaster on Sunday that took the life of Darrell Russell. They do know that a tire blew as the car crossed the finish line. Everything else still a mystery. The car was traveling 300 miles an hour at the time it came apart at the Sears Craftsman Nationals just outside St. Louis. The 35-year-old Russell won the top fuel division in Las Vegas in the fall of 2001, went on to win Rookie of the Year honors. He was back at the Motor Speedway this past April at an NHRA event. Tasha Schweikert will have one more chance to earn another spot on the U.S. Olympic gymnastics team. The Las Vegan will join 15 others at next month's selection camp in Houston. Schweikert finished in 8th place at last night's Olympic trials in Anaheim, with the top 2 finishers all but locking up a roster spot. That leaves 4 openings and 3 alternates. Tasha made the 2000 team as an alternate and wound up competing in Sydney, but she's got to make the A-list just to get there. So July is a huge month for her.
We wish her luck. Thanks, Dave.
Welcome.
We'll be right back.
Here is some of what we are working on for Channel 8 Eyewitness News live at 11 o'clock. Southern Nevada's desert has become a victim to a summer wildfire. Tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 o'clock, we will take you close to the flames and tell you what the firefighters have planned for the Coyote Springs fire. And one of the largest homeowners associations in Las Vegas has told homeowners some of them won't have a say at monthly meetings. Those stories plus all your late-breaking news tonight at 11 o'clock.
Has us interested to see which one that is. We'll see you at 11, everyone.